DEA allowed criminal cops to build their own drug empires for over a decade. According to a whistleblower inside the DEA, the agency allowed and promoted multiple officers to run their own personal drug cartels for years. By John Vibes, July 7, 2017. New Orleans, LA. For over a decade, agents with a New Orleans-based DEA task force sold drugs, intimidated informants, and stole cash on the job with total impunity. According to the advocate, Chad Scott, the former leader of the task force has been fired in the midst of the investigation. It was reported that Scott and some of the officers working under him had a massive operation selling painkillers and that they would sometimes sell other drugs that they managed to steal from dealers during raids. There were a series of complaints that went back years. This is a guy who probably shouldn't have been allowed to run his own task force, an anonymous law enforcement official said. The good news, in this case, is that a large and growing number of federal criminal drug cases are being reversed and nonviolent offenders are being set free due to the fact that this corruption has been exposed. The FBI is now involved in the investigation and is reviewing the allegations against the officers. Many of the crimes that were committed by these officers happened so long ago that they can't even be charged with them anymore, but their crime spree continued long into recent times, so there is still a large amount of evidence against them. Advertisement. DEA Special Agent Debbie Weber said in a statement that DEA takes very seriously any allegations of wrongdoing or misconduct and holds our employees to the highest possible standards. Due to this being an ongoing investigation and with respect to all parties involved, the DEA cannot and will not comment on personnel matters or inquiries related to this investigation. Read more. Cop rapes woman in jail. When supervisors see video, they threaten to kill her, offer her a taco. The most disturbing thing about this case is that the DEA may have known about these crimes all along but allowed the officers to continue anyway. The advocate reported that 4 different whistleblowers within the DEA came forward to admit that they warned the DEA over a decade ago about this illegal activity. Unfortunately, their warnings were ignored and the guilty officers saw no consequences for their actions. One anonymous whistleblower and former colleague of the members of the task force said that Scott could do pretty much whatever he wanted within the DEA. The DEA allowed it, if not promoted it, the whistleblower said, going on to describe Scott as a cowboy. The officer also said that Scott was not alone and that a culture of corruption existed within the task force. Last year, one of the whistleblowers even filed a lawsuit claiming that Scott protected informants who sold drugs and committed other crimes in exchange for tips that would help him get more arrests and improve his arrest numbers. The veteran DEA agent said in the lawsuit that he faced repeated retaliation from superiors after telling them about what Scott was doing on the job. The Justice Department agreed to an out-of-court settlement worth $200,000. Scott's informants also came forward to investigators with stories of his corruption. According to one informant, Scott forced him to sell 100 pounds of marijuana and 2 kilos of cocaine. In an interview with investigators, the informant said that Scott told him that he would be arrested if he did not sell the drugs. Read more. A couple of bad apples? Nearly 4 dozen Georgia officers arrested in massive FBI sting. The informant stated that he was only doing as instructed by the authorities because he feared for the safety of his family, according to DEA documents. These officers were essentially running their own cartels granted to them by the DEA. Adding to the growing pile of evidence, Johnny Domingue, another former member of the task force, was arrested and pled guilty, admitting to using his position to acquire quantities of cocaine hydrochloride and other Schedule II controlled dangerous substances, marijuana, methamphetamine, other prescription pills, cash from the sale of these drugs and cash seized from individuals who were arrested or shaken down while acting under the color of law enforcement. Domingue even admitted to stealing over 300 grams of cocaine from the evidence locker at the DEA's New Orleans Field Division. Domingue said that when he joined the task force this type of activity was already extremely common. Douglas Bruce, an investigator with the Justice Department, testified in court that when he interviewed Domingue, he was told that corruption was a practice that was already in place when he came on board, and he inserted himself sort of in that circle. What this case illustrates is the criminal incentive created by the war on drugs and the monopoly of power granted specifically to those tasked with carrying it out. Making arbitrary substances illegal, and then tasking individuals with the control of those substances creates a temptation of easy money that is hard to pass up. This case is hardly isolated, as the scenario is but a broken record of corruption, playing over and over again in departments across the country.
Hey Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
For life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's
just
getting a little too pushy.
is
You
the
work
hard
for
part
us, Sheriff.
in
Just
keeping
keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheep up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if some, if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave a, let's say, actually, yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But, do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.